Yes, MDC family. Another Wednesday night. We're there. All right, so tonight we have long-term MDC member and a good friend of everyone in the group, Mr. Sidney Sambu, IT specialist and all-round tech genius. Tonight he's going to be talking to the man them about the dangers online and in social media. Over to you, brother Sid.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. That was a very kind introduction there. I don't know about tech genius, but
well, compared to the rest of us, isn't it?
Innit?
Well, each one teach one, as my good friend Skip says, and it stuck with me, So the bits that I know that somebody else doesn't know, I'm glad to teach, and I'm happy to learn as well.
Yeah, but none of us have ever told you anything you don't know already. This is the problem. when that day comes by, that's going to be like champagne corked and have to pass on that one.
It will, and I'm certain of it. It will. It's still early days. I think I'm too enthusiastic with my knowledge, so I'm sure there's going to be. I'm always happy to learn, definitely. So as you said, the dangers of it, and if I can give us a small history into social media. I know it seems like it just crept out of nowhere, and suddenly we're in social media heaven. But if you look at well, the very first form of social media, I'd say, would be the telegram. If you can remember that far back with Morse code and people sending electronic messages, that was the very first form of social media, in my perspective. Or if we went further back, the papyrus and written text when people were sharing bits of information, secret information. But this very with the advent of the internet, when the internet came up in the late 80s, it primarily it was for military purpose when the internet was created. But then Pandora came out of the box, and they realized that we need research on this thing. And the best way to research, as we all know, is to involve a wider group. And the only way you can involve your wider group is to free it to everybody. So that meant that computers needed to become more readily available. It meant that it meant that the interconnectedness of these computers meant that it had to become a feature that would be long lasting. So with that, in the early 80s came the dial-up internet that we came to love. At very low speeds that you needed your telephone to connect and then dial into a network. And into the 90s, we saw broadband DSL, which meant that you were always connected. Now, the drawbacks of being always connected is something that we're experiencing right now, where you can't seem to get offline. You're always online. Whereas with the old dial-up system, you could get offline. When somebody rang your phone, you would go offline. But now you have this ability to stay online and be on the phone as well. So the next iteration of social media came again when peer-to-peer sharing came up. In the mid 90s, we saw something called Kazaa. ICQ came up as well, which was a form of chat. It was very light, and you could store a small profile, and people from all over the world could join in and have sort of chat groups. And then from that came
is that like LimeWire, Sidney? Like what?
Exactly like LimeWire, yeah. So peer-to-peer started with Kazaa, which was a very small app that just sat on your desktop, and you literally shared everything on your desktop. You had no option. So once you're on Kazaa, you're sharing everything. And then LimeWire came up, and it created several layers of protection where you're able to say, I want to share this specific folder. And in, I think it was 1998, 1999, the very first version of what we call social media, it was called 6 Degrees, which played on the opinion that every human being is connected to another
degrees from each other.
Yeah. So you know, you can calculate. You know, if you wanted to find out, for
6
example,
degrees of separation.
exactly the 6 degrees of separation. Yeah. So you know, it meant that you know, it explored that connectivity between human beings, and with that came up MySpace, which wanted to connect artists. So you can see how this evolution of ideas just keeps on adapting and changing to feed the society as it comes. And after MySpace came the behemoth Facebook, which took over the social media scene. And it's you know, now you can't say social media without thinking of Facebook, you know, because you know, you have probably half the world on Facebook, if not slightly more. So you can see it's become quite prevalent in today's world. Now, technology has been ever since technology has been measured, keeps getting better every 18 months, keeps getting better. But recently, this has really accelerated, and one of the reasons why this is happening is because we have competition. Human beings are competing against each other so viciously in such a way that, you know, something can be created in the morning and by the evening it's already become too old. Yeah, it's become too old because something else new has come up. Because the ability to share information has become so instantaneous. You can have an idea, like just like how we are right now. You know, we're human beings located in various spots within Luton or Bedford, and we're sharing ideas instantly. So this means that you know, the old thought of the best ideas being kept in cemeteries is no longer there. You know, now the best ideas live on the internet. You know, within you can capture an idea and visualize it and materialize it within a very short space of time. So you know, they having the internet is a double-edged sword. As the word double-edged sword, you know, you can use the sword to, you know, do harm or do good. The intention is down to the user, to the end user. So social media recently has gotten a lot of bad press, and rightly so, because it's been used by a lot of people to do very selfish things. So in the early days of social media, what it was, it took various forms. So it started with people sharing pictures of themselves, and like in 6 degrees, it was used for dating. So people were using that for more for dating and for meeting new people, creating experiences for themselves and the like. And recently, with technology changing so much that, you know, before we relied on a computer that was fixed in one spot and you just sit in front of your computer, but right now we have computers that are more powerful in our pockets than the spare, you know, the Apollo 13, you know, the what that supposedly went to the moon. So you know, you have you have so much processing power within your pocket, within your mobile phone, that you know, you're able to do so much more. So what this has created are social media personalities. You have people who are able to have and portray a certain lifestyle that can show, oh, look at me, I'm very successful in what I do, I'm very successful in who I am, look at my boat, look at my car, look at the way I live. And that has become how social media has become these days. Social media has become more of a mall. I remember in the 90s growing up, and when you wanted to go and talk to your friends, you'd go to the mall because that's where everybody went. And so these days, the social media has become the mall. So you know, you've got various forms of social media. You've got things like Facebook, which is well known. You've got Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. You've got Twitter. You've got Discord, which young people use now. You've got Snapchat. You've got so many different versions of it, but still they use the same a very similar
Algorithm.
process. Yeah, very similar process where they don't have any content. Facebook does not have any content. The content is you, your personality, what you bring to the table. So if everybody deleted everything on Facebook, you'll be left with just a blank page. Because when they say that when something is free, your soul is the price. So this is a great example of it. And what has happened is that with everybody wanting to show their lifestyle and who they are, and sharing more and more information, it has become a data mine for a lot of things. So you have criminals who just lie in wait and sit and wait for people to post things online, and then they would go and pounce on people, because you have having the mobile phone, which is always with you. There are certain things that show up. For example, your location, which is quite important for you to realize that your mobile phone will, every time you take a picture, shows your location. It shows your surroundings as well, and it shows a timestamp. So if you are taking a video, doing a live video on Instagram, saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm living a champagne lifestyle, and I'm at Shoreditch and in this pub," someone looking at that will see, "Oh, that's happening right now. I'm just outside Shoreditch, and I want that watch." So this happens, and people go it has happened before. And
sorry, I remember. Sorry, just jump in.
Yeah.
I remember there was a thing on the TV, and it was telling you about robbers that will skate through all of your information on your Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you've taken a picture outside your front door, they get the door number, the address, where you're at. And like you said, if you said you're here, you're there eating this and that, they know that you're not in, and they can go straight to your yard and rob.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me show you a short clip on from Vice, which is called the rise of influencer robberies. And this will give us a small insight into what's been happening and what people are going through at the moment. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you give us an example of someone you're looking at the moment?
Sometimes I go on girls' pages, the pretty girls, and I'd obviously get one of my fake accounts, follow them, yeah. Found a few tasty blue chicks that I like, yeah. When I look at their pictures, you got me. Look.
She's got a lot of diamonds on.
Obviously, they got money.
Is that a Rolex?
Yeah, that's a bad boy thing. You flip through their story, and you see them slashing shop in the party, bottles. They got money that they're spending in the club.
If you do find someone in a club, how do you mug them?
Probably a taser or something. Trying to get tased quickly in his car, start zzz.
So do you almost feel like the influencers deserve it then?
Well, from the rich and give back to us, man, because we need it. They're asking for it. Understand, in this life, we know from where we come from, not to be out there slipping and sliding, you get me?
So what would your advice be to an influencer that wants to, flaunt what they've got on their Instagram page?
Say, go get more Rolexes, man. Yeah, I like the Oyster one.
Wow.
Yeah. That is that's what happens these days. And the thing that you can see just how brave these guys are. That's a TV show. That's Vice. That's going on TVs all over the world. They don't care, because they know that nobody is going to listen to this. Nobody's going to be like, oh, maybe I should cut back on showing off. But but thieves have always been there. We've always had thieves. We've always had people robbing other people. But what we're seeing now is that their job has become so much easier. By being able to track people down based on their location, based on where they are, and they know exactly what they've got, and they know exactly what they want to come and take. Now, you might think that this kind of thing is exclusive to only people going to nightclubs or people going to interesting places, and showing off. But let me show you one other clip that shows someone in a different setting that you wouldn't expect, and he was robbed as well on gunpoint, and he was robbed live.
Wow.
Yo, you about to go through. Yo, all right. All right. Yo, all right. When I laid down on the floor, when the young men came and put the gun to my back, as y'all see on the video, they, took my watch, took my jewelry, took my bishop's ring, and then they took my bishop's cross, and he ripped my collar off just to get to my jewelry. Robbed. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, why are you so flashy? It's not about me being flashy. It's about me purchasing what I want to purchase. And it's my prerogative to purchase what I want to purchase. If I worked hard for it, I can purchase what I want to purchase.
So
I
some
remember
people
seeing
might
that.
say he got his comeuppance because he's living a different
Yeah.
life from what he's trying to show. Because you wouldn't expect someone that's deemed a man of God, if you like, for lack of better words, but to have that kind of wealth, because he's sitting there with loads of diamond, loads of jewelry, streaming live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on all social media, saying, "Look at me, I'm better than you. I've got all these gold, all these jewels, and I don't have to work. I only work 1 day a week, and look at me." So these guys came and took what they wanted off him. So you can see it doesn't. I've got a couple of other examples, but I don't want to go too much into it. Kim Kardashian was also robbed. If anyone knows who that is. There's also I think Mark Cavendish, a cyclist or something like that. He got robbed of £700,000 worth of watches.
The same thing with Raheem Sterling, isn't it?
Raheem
Recently.
Sterling, yeah, because he wasn't in the country. Somebody knew where he was, exactly where he was, and they just went and took over his place. But you see, as I said before, social media is both good and bad. So we've had a number of good things happen. Let's not just say social media is bad, but we've had a number of good things happen as well. We've had people who have been missing for years, either from not remembering who they are, from amnesia or something like that, that have recently been reconnected with their families. You've had people who people who have been robbed or violated in one way or another, and the victims have been, the perpetrators have been apprehended because of social media. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there is quite a lot of misery out there. Now there's certain ways that you can there's certain things that you can put in place to prevent this from happening to you. One of the best ways that I can say is stop oversharing. That is the most sensible thing that you can do. Because especially now with the things as they are, the cost of living, and everybody feeling the pinch. It would be a good idea not to say, look at me and my 6 Lamborghinis and my 10 gold watches. It would be much better to think of your neighbors and everybody else. If you're doing well, pass it on. Help somebody. But the other way that you can do it technologically is reduce the amount of permissions that you give your social media apps. So if you're looking at Facebook or Instagram, or whichever social media app that you're using, you can reduce the permission it's got. So you can tell it, one, do not track me. The other way that you can do is go into the application settings and remove the permissions for location, which will mean that it won't be able to tell your location. Now, someone might just know the area because they're from the area or something like that. So it still wouldn't save you so much from that, but that would be one way of doing it. And aside from reducing your footprint on social media and learning about your permissions, the other good thing that you can do is to ensure that if you want to take pictures, make sure you're not in a place that can be easily identified. You can use a blank wall. You can use a sofa or something like that. That can be anywhere.
Mm.
You know, yeah. So
turning your location off is a good thing then.
Turning your location off, not necessarily, because other apps, other more useful apps such as maps will need to so they can guide you. So you can go into individual preferences for individual apps.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and change the setting so that it doesn't for example, if you went to the properties of if you're using an Android phone and you push and hold on the application itself, and it will allow you to go into the properties of the app, and it will tell you everything that is using the permissions that you're using. Oh, I would have shown you on my phone, but I'm using that for the microphone, so I'll be able to share. Yeah, but you should be anyone that needs a hand with this, I'll be more than happy to walk you through it and share my screen and show you how it's done, so that you can reduce the permissions that applications have over you.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone has some questions, and maybe we can put to that because rather than me just talking to you about the history of the internet and what social media is, I think it would be better if we had a two-way conversation, you know. And
of course.
if there's anything that I can answer, I will. If there's something I don't know, I will come back.
Yeah.
Open to the floor then, guys.
Yeah. Hands up. Any questions? Not as yet. So I'll ask a question.
Yep.
With this, all right, I notice on the bottom of WhatsApp and Facebook, I know they're together.
Yeah.
There's this metaverse thing they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I hear those risers that you get is another thing to take you into a virtual reality. But isn't that part of the metaverse as well? What's the metaverse really about?
Well, Meta is the company that owns both Facebook and Instagram, and what they've created is an online platform called the Metaverse, which they are looking, and they have been selling property on, so you can actually buy virtual property.
This is what I was going to say. You can buy property. The land is being sold.
Yes,
Gucci, Prada,
Snoop Dogg,
Armani, and yeah, all kind of. You can buy garms in the metaverse.
Yes,
that are Gucci
absolutely.
name brand and still expensive as well. Yeah.
Very expensive. You know, real estate. If you wanted to buy property right next to Gucci or live right next door to Snoop Dogg, you pay a premium.
Right.
You know, but every time you put on your headset to go into the metaverse, which is a virtual world, you know, you look outside your virtual window and you see Snoop Dogg's virtual self or his virtual home. Yeah. And this is how they've extended the reach of the internet. All this has only become possible because of two things: faster processing and internet connection.
Right.
You know, 20 years ago, none of this was possible. All of this was thought about. Everybody had this idea of living in a virtual world. If you look back in a film, in films such as what was that Arnold Schwarzenegger film where he went to the moon or Mars? He went to
Mars, didn't he? Total Recall.
Total Recall, exactly. You know, this was something that was visualized. They said, you know, although metaverse is a bit cartoony right now, you know, but as technology gets better, the only reason why it looks like a cartoon right now is because it takes a shorter time to render. Now,
Right.
a render is how quickly a machine decodes information and displays it visually.
It's similar to Sims, isn't it? The game Sims back in the
Exactly.
day.
Exactly.
But you're actually
Exactly.
in there walking around and
Yeah, it seems it would seem so, but you know, you just having the headset on your face means that you have a much larger screen. So having glasses on your face, I think they equated it to about 100-inch screen. Looking at a 100-inch screen, I mean, obviously now you'd still be able to. Well, sometimes until your brain switches off the surroundings and you sort of immerse yourself into it, you know, you can still make out that this is a screen, but there's a point where your brain cuts out that noise and it becomes part, you know, just like how when you're watching a film, when you're watching a film, regardless of your screen size, at some point your whole environment disappears and
yeah,
your focus just goes into this single screen.
yeah.
You know, so you know, the same thing with the virtual reality headset, and this is how people have been able to you know, smash into their tellies or break a leg because they kicked a wall, you know.
Yeah.
So it
There's
can get quite immersive that way.
okay. Desmond, you had your hand up first. You got a
Yeah,
question?
very interesting presentation, Brother Sidney.
Thank you very much, Desmond.
As,
They're
as,
not as
as a
interesting as
novice,
yours.
as a novice when it comes to the technology, because I'm from a different generation, so a lot of what you were talking
No,
about.
but you're doing good though, Des, because you're on here, you're on Zoom.
Yeah,
Exactly.
How much man of your generation is ask them about Zoom and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm not talking about Zoom lolly. It's a Zoom lolly that I'm talking about.
Yeah, well,
Or Fat Larry's band.
yeah, doing my research has helped me quite a lot in applying some of the technology.
Curious mind.
Because and I'm quite fascinated by the content of the presentation in the way that criminality now has moved online.
Yeah.
And visualizing it has helped me to have a better understanding of how this virtual criminal world works. Because I hadn't even thought that people could be tracking you to rob you.
Yeah.
Because in the real world, you'd have a look behind you to see if
Yeah.
anybody following you.
Yes. Yeah. Now you have
True.
voyeurism where someone can just watch you
Yeah,
from a
without
distance
you
without
even
you
knowing.
knowing.
But you could,
Yep.
Des, you can accidentally slide into that unintentionally. And so this is one of the things I wanted to raise up in it. So there's a man I know, right? You know, quite influential in Luton, quite popular, and that, and every time he's out, right, he's on some like Facebook Live thing. He's recording live in the venue. You know, you might not, and he's really up in people's face. Oh, I suppose with the younger girls and the younger crowd, isn't it? You know, they're into that more. But you know, I'm saying to him one time, bro, you know what I mean? You're just kind of hotting up, man.
Blowing up, man, Bridget.
You're just blowing up, man. And I'm not in no badness or nothing, but just as a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a big man, innit? You know, do I really need for everyone to know online that I am actually here?
Nah.
In this venue right now, at this time, at this place? You know what I mean? And I'm not really in any sort of problems with anybody, you know what I mean? But I even felt uncomfortable with it. And
It's
I reckon
too
most
much.
of us on here
It
as
is too
big
much.
man would feel uncomfortable. And we're not even doing nothing. So
No.
could you imagine how, like, when some of the youth them are all in there some problems, and you know what I mean? And then man could just find them and just track them down, you know, just look what happened to Saul, innit? Saul just got he got that was like an online honey trap, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, like an online honey trap.
Yeah, it's definitely
They gassed him up, his ego, and his ego got the better of him on that one.
Sadly,
you know, I really so you brought it home to, and it makes a lot of sense what you were talking about, even though I didn't understand a lot of the technology.
Yeah.
But I got the gist of it, that you need to be conscious in this virtual world just as you are in the real world.
True.
Even more so,
Yeah.
because you see what the problem is that, and this is where the apps get us, is that when you're installing a new app such as Zoom or Facebook or whatever you're installing, it will quickly flash up. Do you want this? App to show display your location? You know, and many times because you're in a hurry or you just want to get it over and done with, you'll just say yes, 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 allow, and just move on with it, because we don't really read anymore, to look at
Yeah.
this. But we need to be extra vigilant when you're installing a new app. Are you sure that you need this app to know where you are? How does that help you? In my opinion, unless it's a map, or something that would, on my children's phones, I enable location services because I need to know where they are, because I've got preteen children and one's going to be a teenager soon. So I need to know where they are. If they're not at school, or if they're with me, or they've gone to their mothers, I need to know that they're safe. And so as I said, it can work in both ways. So we just need to be careful in how we display this information to the rest of the world.
And that's the thing. A lot of us is not savvy, isn't it? A lot of us ain't savvy. Blaps, you had a question?
I had my hand up still before Blaps.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did, but I thought you had already asked the question. Sorry, my mistake.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Sorry, my mistake.
You actually was chatting about exactly what I was going to talk about. Is that because I deal with children and anti-bullying, there's a lot of worry from the parents how to deal with, because all the children have got mobile phones, so they've got access to the internet and everything that can be produced on the internet. So what do you do with you got your children there? I deal with anti-bullying. I go into schools and I'm teaching this stuff, how to keep themselves safe.
Yeah. What
more can be done to get the kids in a headspace of self-protection?
Well, it's as you said, it's just as well keeping safe outside as you do online. Whether you're on the streets or online, being safe is a primary concern. Now, what I do for my children, and I found this is what I found works, is that I use the same technology that the hackers use, which is the tracking software, but in a good way. There's an app called Google Family, which is made by Google, app that I completely trust. And I'm not saying that I completely trust Google, but I trust the app in that they will relay the right information to me. So Google Family will let me set permissions for the children's phones. So I know that one, they're watching age appropriate material, because I can set that even if they're on YouTube, that they won't be able to watch R18 or over their age content. And the other thing that I do is I've installed a secondary app called Pingo, which lets me know the children's location and how much time they're spending on their devices. Now I can limit the amount of time they spend on each application. So if I feel like they're spending too much time on Discord, I can stop them from spending time on Discord. If I feel like they're spending too much time on YouTube, I can limit that to an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes, every 2 hours, or every for the whole day. So there's so many apps out there that will help parents not necessarily monitor, but give guidance to their children. Because once you hand over a mobile phone to a child, you're losing them to it, unless you're able to I want to say monitor, but that sounds like the wrong kind of word to say, but to sort of guide them. But
the kids are more advanced than even us anyway, so that can't even work. Unless you take the mobile off them and say, "Yeah, give me the phone," and hide it from them. You understand? They'll go to school the next day and get a next phone. Their friend will just give them their own old model, and that will just set up, and that's good to go again. So this
is my thoughts, is because we have to change their mindset. To be threatened all the time. As soon as they open the door and close it behind them in the morning, they have to feel they're under threat, they're about to be attacked. They have to get that mindset going.
It's very important for them to realize the dangers that exist even with, there might not be, it might not be visible to you right now, but the danger does exist. Either lurking online or in the bushes. It's all exactly the same.
Yeah.
So lessons in the IT school, in the IT class. What do you reckon?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Do lessons on this in the IT class instead of just learning how the computer works?
Yeah, I think
learn how to protect
sociology
yourself,
on it.
innit?
Yeah, it would be. It should be part of their. And I think when I speak to my children, they tell me about the classes that they learn now called PSHE, physical health and sexual education or something like that. And they talk about grooming and county lines and things like that. So
Yeah,
to
it's
try
part
and
of the
help them.
curriculum in terms of internet safety or
Exactly.
safety online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
this is what I teach in school.
yeah, I think it's quite important for you as well if when you're teaching in schools to have a small section for staying safe online, because it's part of the holistic subject. Because
That's what I keep telling them.
being safe is not just on the streets. You've got to be safe even on the virtual streets, because that is where you have very little control. When someone's eyes are fixed on that 6-inch screen, there's no way for you to know what's going on unless you're either within earshot or you have monitoring software that's going to be able to tell you what's happening.
Mark, you had your hand up earlier. Sorry about that, brother.
Yeah, Sidney. So
question.
more of a thing. So, for example, everything seems to like channel through Gmail. So, would you say it'd be worth for me to get rid of like my other regular email addresses, what I use, like Yahoo, and just put everything over in the Gmail? What do you reckon?
I think that not necessarily. The old saying works here. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think what you might want to do is separate it in such a way that you have your personal things coming into one email, and your work things going into a separate email. So what that does is that if one of your emails was compromised, you still have the other one to work with. Because it's something that can happen. People get hacked. Either you could lose a phone, or you could have a weak password that gets gets compromised.
But what I'm trying to say,
Can I make a quick interjection?
Hold on, 1 minute, Black. 1 minute.
No, it's about this. It's about this. It's the same thing.
Let me just say.
Just a thing about emails. If you think about emails like a postcard.
No, go on. Let him go. Go on, Black.
If you think about emails like it's a postcard you're sending to someone's house, everyone can see it. You see what I'm saying? Emails are very it's not as secure as people think. So
that's what I'm saying. I've got 2 like Yahoo accounts what I use.
Yeah,
I've had them from long time. So
I use Proton Mail now.
No, I'm not. What I'm asking Sidney is how relevant is Gmail, because a lot of things have to go through. Like Sidney, you said about the Google app you use for your kids, isn't it? It's like Google is like controls everything now, and how secure are we sort of getting in with Google?
Absolutely not.
I've got the Gmail. I've got about 2 or 3 Gmails. Yeah. I don't really use them. I use so is it worth putting certain things in a one, because I find it all a bit confusing as well. I'm all confusing myself more time.
Yeah. You can put forwarding, but I wouldn't say to put all of them into one, because as I said, which means that if one gets compromised, they all get compromised. So you might want to keep them separate in such a way that you have your banking things done on one email, your friends on a separate email, you work on a separate email, and that will work well. Now the problem with Google is that there's no escaping Google, because Google on Android, Google on the operating system that runs 70% of the world's phones. So, and for you to get for you to start your phone, it asks you the most important question: what's your email address? And it has to be a Gmail address for you to be able to do anything. So unfortunately, they've got us on that because of the mobile phone. So it's either that or you get an Apple phone, which is even less secure, because what has happened, it's because it's seen as a prestigious thing. So Apple is under constant attack from a lot of people, because you know, they find that the people with a certain type of lifestyle are more likely to have an iPhone. So you find that they get hacked very often, very quickly.
Okay. A question from Andrew M.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, I'm having trouble with my microphone for this meeting. However, I would like to get Sidney's view on whether he thinks cyber policing is up to speed and matching cyber criminality. How protected are we, for example, if someone's hacked into our bank or savings account?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. Well, the problem is that cybercrime is global, whereas cyber policing is quite local. So you know, you won't get British criminals perpetrating British crimes. You get criminals from all over the world. You know, from India, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from, you know, wherever you can think of, Bangkok, trying to hack in. So it becomes quite difficult to police the whole world with a small what's it called, a small task force. You know, so a small group of police, cyber police. So it becomes quite difficult to do that. So in that regard, it's all that they can do is either create encryption, which will stop, well, not necessarily stop, but slow down hackers. And they
Are you a red team or a blue teamer?
I don't know, no, nothing, none of that for me, thank you. I don't, you know, I don't do even ethical hacking. I find that is, you know, it's like playing on a Ouija board. So, you know, I wouldn't do any of that, you know. So I find that
it's a skill, though, isn't it? It's a skill that if you have it.
Come on, guys. Anyone who's having any sort of issues or anything you're kind of unsure of online, innit? You know, it's your space, innit? Come and say it.
Garvin, you had your hand up? You got your hand up?
Yes, brother Sidney.
Hey, Garvin, nice to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Very interesting talk.
Thank you.
VPN. What can you tell us about VPN and give us some advantages of VPN? Would you recommend it for normal people?
Well, virtual private network is it is quite good, and I think that is one of the many ways you can you can obscure and secure your data and also your location. So a VPN would allow you to now again another thing that's a double-edged sword. So you can imagine, so I'll explain what a VPN is first. A VPN will allow you to connect remotely to the internet using another connection. So for example, Garvin is sitting in Milton Keynes, and he installs the VPN software that would allow him to connect from Germany. So every time somebody tries to look at Garvin's computer, it will say that Garvin's in Germany instead of being in Milton Keynes. So when someone is trying to hack into Garvin's computer, they'll hack into a German computer instead of directly into Garvin's computer. So that's how a VPN will work. Now, the fun side of VPN would be if I wanted a Disney content that is only available in America, I'll choose an American IP address and say that I'm in America, and suddenly my Disney Plus is full of American content. Voila, you know, that's fantastic. Now the downside of it is that the data is no longer straightforward. So you can imagine it's like having a VPN introduces a third party to your conversation. So if I was sitting here talking to you, Garvin, and instead of talking to you directly, I'll talk to Mark, and Mark will relay this information back to you. And now you can do it word for word, but there's no way of telling who else Mark is telling. So so it can have detrimental effect on who you who you choose to be your VPN. Now, sometimes the information is stored within the VPN server. Sometimes it's volatile and it completely disappears within a very short space of time, which is what you want. But because of the fact that it can be used by criminals, what VPNs tend to do is that they store that information on there for a certain amount of time until it becomes either pertinent or not pertinent. So within a short space of time, maybe 90 days, your information is stored in a server in Germany, while they're waiting to hear from UK police if Garvin did anything that might be untoward
Useful.
on the internet.
They can use that information.
Yeah. So VPN is fantastic. I wouldn't use it if you're going to log into your bank to access bank account details, to share to do credit card information, because what's going to happen is that your information is stored by a third party. VPNs will store information, and if you look at I think there are one or two VPN software that have come up and saying that we wouldn't store information, and but there's no way of telling. Yeah, so VPNs, yes and no. So
Can I ask on that same subject, free VPN or paid for free VPN?
Paid is always better, because free comes at a cost. The cost might not be apparent to you then, but if you look at the tick boxes that tells you, this is some of them will give you complete anonymity, where it will strip down everything from your connection, so your IP address is never registered. Your connection IP address is never registered, whereas with the free version, it will register everything and store your data for X amount of time. Or you can only connect from certain locations. But then again, using a VPN means that it's going to slow down your speed to the internet, because again, you're streaming to you're sending information to this server in Germany. The German servers now goes to collect the information. So you're looking at a reduced rate of communication between servers.
Okay. Norman, you had your hand up. You there, Norman? We're in there.
The mic is muted.
Your mic's muted, Norman.
All right. When you buy something on the internet and you use your card details,
yeah.
Can someone trace that through you buying from a company?
It depends. If they're a reputable company, you see, now you have to look at.
Sorry to cut you. Say like Amazon. Amazon.
It depends on who you're talking about. Normally, when you have the HTTPS, when you look out for that S sign, and on your browser, only yourself and Amazon will know that this transaction happened, and your bank, of course. So your bank and Amazon that know that this transaction happened.
Because what it is, right? I see some people, they just photograph their card and they send it to Amazon.
Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. I mean, okay. So what
banks? I've seen them do that in the bank to someone.
Oh no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that, because once you give out card information like that somebody has a clone of your card. There are two things that happen there. So when you're within the Amazon app, there are times when it's telling you, especially if you're using your mobile phone, it realizes that you're using a mobile phone, and it will say, when it comes to entering your card details, it will ask you to enter the card details. But then to save you time, it will say, just scan your card. Now, you won't have to push any buttons. Once you put, it's called an optical character recognition, or OCR. Once you put your phone over the card, it will recognize these numbers. And in that regard, none of that information is stored anywhere aside from the card numbers itself that it will pick up, and that information is now stored within Amazon servers.
Because I've seen that done in the bank. They said you can do that. It doesn't go through to nobody. It goes straight.
As long as you don't push a button.
They just take the card like that and put their phone to it.
Yes.
And boom, it's taken.
Yeah. That's a time-saving function that they have. But you won't have to push any buttons, because once you push a button, you're taking an image. And
right.
Yeah. So once you take an image, that becomes now volatile information that can be shared or stolen from you.
One more question again from Andrew. Says, to everyone, do we think about or consider our health and well-being in regards to working with this technology? Consider the stress and anxiety we encounter these days in regards to things such as we have discussed this evening. Am I protecting my information well enough? Am I giving vital information in that media post I just sent? And I do think we all have to consider our stress levels. For example, how anxious would you be if you lost your mobile phone tomorrow?
Yeah, it is quite nerve-wracking, but the most important thing you have to have in your mind is that if the lights went off tomorrow, it shouldn't matter. Who you are is more important than anything you can have in this world. Who you are is the most important thing. So if the lights go off tomorrow, you have to be happy with who you are.
Sure.
Losing your phone should come secondary to your personal safety. If somebody wants to grab your phone, let them have it. You can have there's an app on if you have an Android phone, and you can shut it down instantly. There's a you just go to Google and type in "Find My Phone" on a Google search, and it will allow you to block your phone completely, so that nobody can use it ever again. It will allow you to make an audible sound so that everyone can hear that phone is ringing, or so you'd be able to find your phone and track it down if need be. But again, when it comes to
Android, and the thing with Android phones, they always backing up every couple of hours. So you can cancel that phone, get a new phone, and download it in about 10 minutes. All of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but people do panic when you lose your phone. You do that, and even when you lost it for a minute or so, misplaced it, you're like, Russ, hold on. You start to get panicky. Desmond, you had a question?
Yes, brother Sid. I was just wondering. Now, I always try to use a debit card when buying anything online. Is that a better way to go about it than to use, say, a debit card? As I say, I use a credit card instead of a debit card.
Absolutely. Always use a credit card. Always use a credit card. If you're going to a website that you've got no you're not too sure about, always use a credit card. Why I say that is that the credit card will give you a secondary layer of protection, because they can only steal your limit of your credit card, whereas if they have your debit card, they can steal the limit of your bank account. So that's the last thing you want to lose. You never want to lose how much money you've got in the bank. But and again, money that's stored in a credit card is always redeemable through a facility called chargeback. Chargeback works within I think it's 60 days that you can claim back and say this card was used fraudulently, and they will recover 100% of the funds that went out of your credit card. Whereas with your debit card, the bank will always look to get out of it. Yeah. So you can use things like PayPal, which is quite a useful bit of layer of protection as well, which you can store a certain amount of money on and say that this is what I want to be spending online. Or you can use credit cards if you don't want to if you want to protect your anonymity more, but you always use a credit card if you don't want to use your bank card.
So with the PayPal, what you do, you just register the account and then you put into the account, is it?
Yes, yes. But now the thing with PayPal is that you connect it to your bank. You connect it to your bank, so they'll
Okay.
send you some, they'll send you some details so you can pay by direct debit. So if you bought something on eBay or another website, PayPal will give you that money and then send a direct debit to your bank account for that amount.
Right.
You see, so it works, or you can even store your debit card on there, and it's only PayPal who will have that information. So instantly, you make a purchase, PayPal will request for the money, but that gives you another layer of protection, because PayPal, any transaction that's done on PayPal, if you're not happy with it, you can always go back to PayPal and say, hey, I think I've been scammed. PayPal will collect your money back. PayPal will pay you back, and then go and look for that money.
But the
Well,
banks do that now as well.
Sydney, I hardly use mine. I've had PayPal for ages, and I
Yeah.
used to use it like years ago, but nowadays it doesn't really seem that relevant to use it again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use PayPal.
No, do I? I use my card.
And like I said, I've made purchases on the bank card.
Yeah.
And I weren't happy with them, and the banks are quite good at bringing back my money as quick as.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I was quite happy about that still.
Because of Visa, you had a debit card Visa.
Yeah.
Or a debit card MasterCard. So which has given us that layer of protection as well, because it's not just debit card for the, if it was the old Link card. Sorry.
Right.
I use the Visa debit card.
Yeah. That gives you a certain layer of protection. But always remember, if you went to a dodgy website and it said buy this thing for £1, you put in your bank details, you pay the £1. Tomorrow they run your card again for £100. The next day for 300, 500. The day after that, without you knowing, unless you're there every day looking at your bank account, you won't know until it's too late. And I'm speaking about this out of experience. This very thing happened to me, where
that would be a scam outfit that would do something like that. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but you can easily get into them. They come for you, man. They come for you. I've had people scam me at least about 10 times. They're always trying. They're always trying to give it away. And sometimes you make a mistake and you slip in, especially on the email. And when they say that, your account's closed and rare on this and that and this and that, and next minute they draw you in. They've drawn me in a few times. It hasn't happened recently, but I'm still a little bit more savvy than probably even some man are, because I have
never click on any links on an email. If it comes from your bank will never ever send you links on an email. Never, not once. They will never send you an email saying click here to log into your bank account. Anywhere, anytime you see that's
no. They play a long game, Sidney. They play a long game. You don't even have to click nothing, in it. You understand? From even you respond.
Yes. Yeah. So they will tell you, ring this number. Your Lloyd's bank account has been closed. Ring this number. So what they're doing with that is that's called phishing. PHISHING, phishing. And what they do is that they're phishing for your data. Now they'll send that same email saying your Lloyd's bank account has been closed to 1 million people. Now they know that 1 million people won't have Lloyd's bank accounts, but they know out of that 1 million, 1,000 people will.
Yeah.
Out of that 1,000, 100 people will respond saying, hey, let me call this number, because it's an 0800 number. But 0800 numbers are issued to anyone. You can go and buy an 0800 number today that's forwarded to your mobile phone. So they fish for this, and then they know, okay, now they have confirmation that you have a Lloyd's bank account. So because you rang back and said, okay, then they'll ask you the questions like how the banks do. What is your name? What is your account number? Now they've got this information because you volunteered it. And then as Mark says, they will play the long game and say, okay, I will send you something to your phone, and it seems so legitimate. It seems so legitimate. Even the web address says Lloyd's bank account.co.uk. You know, but you know, you wouldn't notice that Lloyd's is just Lloyds.co.uk. You know, because you know they've got you into this comfortable position where you're thinking, this voice on the other end of the phone is from my bank. And once you click there, you meet an interface that looks exactly like your interface. You enter your details and it looks like you're going into your bank account. Then they tell you, okay, don't worry about it. Now they're into your bank account, you know? And as I was saying, this same thing happened to me. I was on a night out in Crawley years and years ago. I used to live in Crawley, and I went to a cash machine. I'd gone out to a pub with a couple of people, and I went to the cash machine to withdraw money. I looked at the cash machine, looked a bit weird. It looked bigger than it should do, but I thought, you know, it's Crawley, everything looks weird. So I put my bank card in, I punched the numbers and got my money out, went out, had a good time with my friends, and the next morning was a Saturday, so I slept in. Sunday was, you know, an easy day. Monday morning, as I'm going into work, I get a call from a bank saying, "We've noticed some weird activities on your bank. Can we go through it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." He says, "Friday night, did you draw out X amount?" I was like, yeah, I did. And then after that, you went and drew X amount. I said, "No, I wouldn't have been able to do that." Then Saturday, the same thing. Three times they drew out of my bank card. Sunday, the same thing. You know, and Monday, the bank closed my card because they noticed this is weird. You know, you shouldn't be spending like this. So by the time they were done, they're taking thousands out of the bank.
But did you get anything back? Did you get it back?
No, of course not. No, because you know, my card was cloned at the cash machine, and a card. So they said there's no way of us determining that it wasn't your ex-partner, you know. And I was like, you know, you've got CCTV on these things, and they're like, no, we're not, you know.
Garvin, you had a question?
Yeah, I was inquiring about Sidney's thoughts on cards like Monzo and Revolut cards. What are your thoughts on those? How safe are they?
They are actually quite good. They are actually very, very good. They are what we call ethical banks. So they've downscaled the operations of a bank, and well, the micro bank, I'd say. They've downscaled the operations of a bank. Instead of having 1,000 employees, they probably have 50, 60 people, and they're keeping it very small. But still, they have the same protection. So every bank that is that you will see on the high street or online has been approved by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. So every bank that is out there has to have a certain amount of liquidity within themselves, so that your investment. So it's called the fractional reserve banking. So for every £100 that you put into a bank, the bank has to guarantee 10% of it. So you know, when you look at if your bank has, if you put in £1,000 into your bank should have £100 of that ready for you at any point that you'd say, "I want my money," and they'll give you, you know, and the rest of it is guaranteed by Treasury. So that's the beauty of our commercialist system. So fractional reserve banking is the way every bank around the world works. So whether it's Monzo or Lloyd's, they have the same kind of protection. So you would never lose money with them. You know, even if you look at people who lost money with Northern Rock or things like that, they all, unless it was an investment is different from a bank account. A bank account is guaranteed, whereas an investment is not. So if you had a bank account with Monzo or Revolut, you know, your money is safe in that you always get it back.
Okay.
Yeah, financial ombudsman is a person to speak to if you have any problems with your bank. So if your bank went bust, if Bank of Dave went bust and you had 50 grand in there, yeah, the financial ombudsman would get it back for you because of the fractional reserve banking system that they've set up.
What about this CBDC, this programmable money? What's your views on that?
CBD?
CBDC, the programmable money.
Never heard of it.
Monetary is like it's a new digital currency, isn't it? Programmable digital
That's
currency.
what the government wants to bring in to try and control the universe.
Yeah. They've already issued it out, and the Prime Minister said that in one of his speeches.
That's social credit. That's social. Is that social credit?
No,
It's like a credit
they said-
system, but it's
Yeah,
digital
like,
money.
yeah, like
They
social
said
credit.
What you
digital
can spend your
currency.
money on.
No, they
Yeah.
said digital currency, right? They want to bring it in four world banks.
Yeah. What's your views on it, Sidney?
Well, digital currency is as good as anything digital. You know, it relies on the assumption that we'll always have power or electricity. So you can imagine something happens to digital. You know, you get hacked. That means that your money is gone. You know, so in my opinion, I think it's a wonderful thing when it comes to spending, but it's a terrible thing when it comes to tyranny. You know, a government can act tyrannically in a way that it, you know, like even the Chinese, this is happening in China, I believe, where they, you have a social credit where you could have $1 million yuan in your bank, but you can't buy anything because the government has decided that you've behaved in a way that is not in line with the government's the government's social standing. So they're saying that, you know, so today you don't have money. So you know, when it's controlled centrally, it means that the power falls away from the people. Where I think power should always be with the people, because it's the people that create the government and not the government creating people. So I would be quite weary of even things like Bitcoin and blockchain. You know, I wouldn't get into it. I wouldn't get into it because you know, it seems too volatile for you know, to take too seriously.
Right. Okay. Anybody else? One more question. We're just wrapping up about almost now.
Yes, may have a question.
Okay, Natty.
I'm assuming somebody may have accessed my email, and it appears that I'm sending emails periodically to my wife.
Oh.
So I want to know how I can stop that.
Change your password.
Just change my password.
That's it. What has happened is that your password has been compromised, and what you need to do is just go in and change your password. Change it to something. I'd say change it to something very, you know, very personal to you. Add special symbols such as the star, the slash, and a couple of numbers. You know, that will that will help you secure your email. But the only reason why they're able to send an email from your account is because they've got your password.
Well, is it then from my account then? Is it coming? I mean, it's suggesting that it's me, but is it coming from my account, or have they created
your email address, isn't it?
No, it's coming from your account, because what they're doing is that they've taken control of your account and they're logging in as you.
Okay.
Yeah, they're logging in as you, so they know your username is always your email address. Now your password is what the trick.
Sorry, Sidney, Natty. Just say that one first. Say, how did it happen again?
Well, I don't know how it happened, but I'm just assuming that if somebody is sending
no, explain what you said earlier. Like what actually happened?
Well, she's receiving emails from me, but it's not me. So I'm assuming they've access.
And it's the same email address.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that she will get it. It says Bernie, whatever, and it's coming from me. So I'm assuming it's coming from my. I haven't really looked at them.
Yeah,
I'm just assuming it's coming from mine.
If it's the exact email address.
I haven't looked at that actually. I just delete them.
You have to first of all, brother. You understand?
Yeah?
You have to look. You have to look and see.
It could be just a dot in the wrong place.
Yeah, they're smart. They're clever, man. You know what I mean? They tried to thief money from me out of Santander one time. gassing me up all day on the phone, telling me about I made this payment and that was wrong and rare. Can you all kind of things. And when he got me on the phone, I still not trusted the brother. And he said, just look, go on the back of your card and look at the phone number, you know, and look at the phone number I sent to you. You understand? It's the same number. And then it looked like it was the same number, but yeah, it was one digit out, innit? Because I'm not really looked at it properly. You know what I mean? And it slid me in, and then the only reason why how I even like brought him up and stopped when he was asking me about crypto, if I got any crypto, and I'm telling him, yeah, I'm gonna put £2 in the crypto, I'll transfer £2 over, and he say, nah, that's not enough. And I'm like, seeing, you know what I mean? But yeah, he had me. The guy had me on a string for about 2 hours. And I thought I was quite savvy. I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not at Sidney's level, but obviously I've been using online shit for years. But yeah, he played the long game. He played the long game on me, Sidney, and just drew me in.
Wow.
You know, okay.
Well, the first step for you to do, Nati, is to look at the email address properly. If it's the same one, are you using Gmail or Yahoo or something like that?
I have about 3-4 of them, you know. So I use Gmail, Hotmail, and I'm thinking of opening a Yahoo as well.
Okay, the one that's sending the emails. Which one is it? Is it from Yahoo or Gmail?
It's a what do you call it? Hotmail.
Hotmail. Now, what you can do as well, check the email address and make sure that it's the correct one. If it's the same one, look at what is called an outbox. The outbox will have information of every email that's gone out from your account.
That's in my own email outbox.
Yes. Look at that, and then
after you've done that, I do that every morning. So I have 3 of them, and obviously every morning I clear everything, looking junk, looking everywhere, and I've never seen any of those.
Okay, then it probably isn't coming from yours, but rather someone who knows your account, and this is what phishing is. So they know that they've made an association between yourself and your wife, and they're probably trying to get more information from them. So so by either telling her, click on this link to see something or the other, because she will think, oh, Nati's sending me this, you know, so I'll look at it. It must be some funny video, you know, and then they can get to you through her, you know, or something.
Because I'm just wondering, you know, I think I've had them before. It seems like they send it to people who you don't send email to often. So they seem to choose somebody who you don't send email too often. That's how because it happened several times anyway.
I would still change your password, because you have to ask yourself, how did they know your address book? Because this information of knowing who your spouse is and you know, the other people in your address book, I would still change your you know, the email passwords. I would change all of them, because you've been compromised in one way.
Because that's something that we should do quite often. We used to do it every few months at work, so you know they recommend you to do that. Anyway, give thanks.
But Sidney, right, so basically I'm kind of revealing myself here still, but I will anyway. So I've got 3 passwords what I just use for everything. For every routed thing, you know what I mean? Because obviously I can't remember this and that. And so is that a good thing, or is it? But I've noticed nowadays you don't even have to. Sometimes you don't even have to tap in the password, isn't it? There.
Fingerprint will work and all of that. But what I would say, it's not a good thing to have the same password over and over again. But if you feel like you're not able to keep a handle on it, what you want to do is use as many special characters as possible. You can have your password can always be you know, whatever, you know, it could be, you know, love, it could be love reggae.
So I can have the same letters, but just pick 3 different characters.
Special characters. Always use special characters, because you know, either a slash, a star, or you know, an asterisk, you know, asterisk, a pound sign. You know, do that.
Yo, cool about
You listening,
Cool
big?
about
I'm hearing you, man. I'm hearing
Oh
you.
my God. Doing
That's
that,
what I'm saying, man. Quickly, man, guys. Anything was bugging you online, ask Sidney quickly, man.
Star.
Trust me, because there's holy for things.
So if you ain't got your location on, yeah, can people track you? If you haven't got it actually on your phone.
It's harder. It's harder to do because now here's the thing. Your phone works on two principles. Especially GSM phone. GSM stands for global positioning by satellite. Yeah. So that's GPS. Sorry, that's your GPS, global positioning by satellite. GSM will work on the cell towers. So you have your phone works on not just one cell tower, it works on 3 cell towers.
At
Do you know that? At any given time. So in order for you to make a call, your phone must be triangulated. So 3 cell towers have to 3 cell towers have to pick you up, so that so it works on an average. So cell tower 1, 2, and 3 will work on whichever one is stronger, so that as much as we think it's mobile, it's not really that mobile. So that if you move from one cell tower and you're not so close to that one, it can hand you over to the next one, to the next closest one. So that's why you'll find that when you're driving and you're driving at a certain speed, well, not these days, because the handover rate has become much better. Handovers is a lot better these days than it used to be, and the range of GSM as with 3G, 4G, and 5G has become much longer. So the handover rate is much slower. So, but still, triangulation is key to GSM traffic. So at any given point, if someone really wants to know where you are, they can. They can, because even if you've switched off your location services, as long as you have a SIM card on your phone and you're connected to a cell tower mast, they can determine based on that information. But this information is not readily available to anyone. You have to be a very high level hacker or the police.
They have apps out there that if you got anyone's number, and you can use that app by putting their phone number in, and it can trace where they are.
Yeah. I'd say that is possible, but that works only on it works again on the GSM principle. It won't tell you exactly right there, that's where they are, but it will tell you within 150-meter radius. Then in this area.
Okay. All right. One more last question. What's your views on 5G? Because there's a lot of talk about that prior.
Well, 5G. In the 60s, when the television first came out, coincidentally it happened that this was in America, weirdly enough. Coincidentally, there was a lake and all the fish died. Most of the fish died, and everyone blamed it on.
Hold on 1 minute. Let me just. Sorry, I'm gonna have to mute you there. Sorry. All right, carry on, Sidney. Sorry.
Everyone blamed the TV transmitter on the deaths of the fish in the lake, because they said, "Oh, the transmitter is causing the fish to go crazy, and the fish died." But 5G is it's a mobile signal frequency, and basically what it is it's working on the 800 to 900 megahertz frequency, which ironically enough is what the old TV station, the old TV used to run on. That's why TV had to be switched off for us to, the old antenna TV had to be switched off and us turned to digital, so that they can use this frequency for high-speed broadband.
But it's a slower frequency, and it's a deeper frequency.
No, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same frequency they're using. 900 megahertz is 900 megahertz, whether whether you're using it for TV or you're using it for GSM. But the equipment might be more efficient in how it spreads the data, but it doesn't mean that it's the You know, an oscillation of a sine wave will always remain the same, and that's what 900 megahertz is. You know, it's an oscillation between the peak and the trough that forms 900. 800 would be a different wavelength. You know, it's the length of the wave on the graph.
Yeah.
So basically, 900 megahertz is 900 megahertz, whether you're using it for data or TV. But
okay.
yeah.
It's the power you have to worry about, because it's the same microwave technology. It's the power you have to worry about, because if you change the power, it becomes a weapon that you can weaponize against, like crowds and stuff like that. The dispersion stuff used by the police.
That's a different technology.
Uses the same kind of technology.
No. That 900 megahertz.
No, it's a different, not the frequency. I'm talking about the power.
Yeah. The power is, if it was the people living right next to the cell towers, they would all be sick. You know, but they're not. But you know, when you're talking about dispersion technology, that uses 20 hertz. Which is between 10 and 20 hertz, which is subsonic bass. So you can imagine
that reaches our level.
No, you can't hear it. You can't hear 10 to 20. 30 is where the human.
It'd be 20 to 20 though. It'd be 20 hertz, 20 kilohertz.
No, hertz.
Yeah, 2020.
Sorry.
Between 20 and 20,000.
Yeah, it'd be supposed to be 2020.
So we're talking about between 10 and 20. Between 10 and 20 is the non-audible. So that is a subsonic bass, yeah. And this has been known to cause vomiting, diarrhea, you know.
Because that resonates within your sternum, and that is on a similar vibration of your stomach and your bowels and that.
Yeah, 8 hertz is what we resonate at, and the earth also resonates at 8 hertz. So 10 is very close to.
The dispersion technology and COVID, and it made it go crazy.
Well, it's very unlikely that 900 hertz would give you a cold.
Just fifth generation.
Sorry.
Just fifth generation.
Yeah, 5th generation. You know, 4G was the 4th generation.
Yeah, when they brought out 5G, they're only now closing down 3G. They're only now closing that down. 4G is becoming the most used, and 5G. When they brought out 5G, there's not many people got it yet. I mean, but they're already working on 6G.
Yeah, but you know, 2G, 1G, which was the old GSM mobile phones before they had SIM cards in. So you're only able to use it for voice calls.
That's right.
2G meant that you're able to use it for voice calls and text messages.
Yeah.
3G means that you're able to use it for voice calls, text messages, and picture messages. And then in between 3G and 4G came something called iMode, which lasted about 5 minutes, which was the use of internet, and this became 3.5G, and so high-speed internet came in as 4G. Now high-speed internet, so you've got voice calls, text messages, high-speed internet, long-range internet as 4G, and 5G is always on, always connected connectivity. So that means that wherever you are, with the old 4G, if you were further away from the cell mast, you'd get a slower reception on your internet connectivity. So that meant that if you're on the edge of the cell tower that you're getting data from, your connection will be really slow. But if you're closer to the center of it, your connection will be really quick. Now with 5G, it doesn't matter where you are in relation to the mast, you'll be able to get it at the same speed. And this is where now with what Blacks was talking about, 6G, is where autonomous vehicles will now come in, because as much as we think that self-driving cars actually drive themselves, They don't. They rely on connection to the internet because they have a central processing database that sits in the cloud, and this relays back information, real-time information of what's going on in the road. So the car's processing power is very limited in that it can only have a strong enough computer that without breaking the bank, because they want to produce a lot of these cars. Whereas if you had one central processing center that processes all the information, you can spend billions on it, as opposed to spending billions on every car that is so clever that can tell the difference between a deer crossing the road and a deer printed on the side of a car. Because these are the things that the autonomous vehicle throws off autonomous vehicles, is that they don't think for themselves as much as we'd like to think. They don't. They work on coding.
So it's the
coding
system.
that tells it.
Yes, the system, the coding, that's the programming that the car links to.
Yeah,
that is doing all the work. The car itself is just basic and standard.
It's just a basic standard car, but there's a box that sits in there and gives it information like the line on the middle of the road should be broken. The one on the side of the road should be completely solid. If a car stops, you need to match your speed. This basic information comes in. But if a meteorite falls down, what should it do? It doesn't know, so it'll keep driving because this is not a scenario that has been placed before it. But and this is where when you have 6G and it's able to draw this information from someone else in Nicaragua where similar situation happened. It's able to learn, and this is where you have something called machine learning, which is now artificial intelligence, which is not so intelligent at the moment, but it's picking up rapidly. We've got new forms of technology called Chat GPT that is online right now, and it's been writing thesis for people. It will write you a business plan within 5 seconds flat. Seconds. You just tell it, I want a business plan for a rocket to go to Mars, and it will give it to you. It will write you you can even tell it, write me a song in the style of Bob Marley. It will write it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
One last question before we wrap up. All right, then. You said like there's 1G to 4G, 5G. Did they lock off 1G once they moved to second and 3G? What I'm basically asking is, if the internet goes down, then will we have to go back for the old basher phones and start using that to ring numbers? Will that work? Everything's down.
Well, they have to. So this is what I was saying. If you remember, we had until 2012 to get rid of the antennas on the roofs of the houses. Because they're switching off TV. So what happens is that each one of these frequencies are getting overcrowded at the moment. So each one of these frequencies are being used for something else. So we need to get we need to free up frequencies so that we can use them for other purposes. So you've got fire, you've got police, and all these other services that rely on frequencies being readily available. Disaster recoveries, things like that. They rely on signals being readily available. But in terms of if our technology went down today, technology is always backward compatible, meaning that you can use the old phone to do the basic things that you did back then, but you can't use the new phone backwards. Yeah. So you
always keep a basher phone handy in the cupboard then, yeah?
Always. It's good for you.
Right.
When you saw Independence Day, Will Smith, and then the aliens took over everything. They had to use CB radio again.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was on CB radio, I could hear other people chatting to each other when I changed the channels. To write down what they were saying, blah blah blah. It's the same thing they did in World War II. So now when it comes down to the phones going down and the internet goes down, we're back to that scenario straight away where radio waves are still available.
Yeah, but
Right.
all this stuff runs off the same technology.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how your phones work right now. Your walkie-talkie, where there's something, is now a mobile phone. It's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Johnson
It's
said,
just the most sophisticated one.
Johnson says Chat GPT is insane AI.
Well, and you haven't seen anything yet. This is Chat GPT is basically an Amiga. You remember the Amiga 64, the old
Yeah.
To what is actually out there. Chat GPT is nothing, because I'm speaking as a technology theorist right now, and I'm basing my theory on what we you know on the events that I've seen happen. There's a if you look at Amazon has been working on machine learning for the last 10 years. And what they've been doing with machine learning is has never been revealed to everybody. But you know, you look at yourself, you look at who's the richest man in the world, and you know, Jeff Bezos. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, you can have someone else sit as number one, but Jeff Bezos is the world's richest man because he controls the world's economy. You look at during pandemic, and the only company that was profitable was Amazon. You know, because he's been using AI for a really long time to make these assumptions. You look at things like Alexa, you know, Alexa of Amazon. Alexa has been running for a really long time, listening to people, you know, and collecting anonymous data, if I can say anonymous data, you know, because they've been feeding the machine. Machine learns about what do people want. You know, there have been certain instances where Amazon has been known to recommend baby clothes to someone who didn't even know they were pregnant. You know, so the machine knew before they did that they were going to have a baby. So, you know, this is so you look at something like Chat GPT has been recessed to 2 years ago. So the information that you will get from Chat GPT is 2 years old. You know, it's been stopped at 2020. So that means that you know, if you can go on it right now and tell it to create you a business plan on businesses for 2020, and it will do it successfully. But if you ask it today, what is the current trend today, it won't tell you. But you know, you want to tell me that the person with the keys to the machine doesn't have that information?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, these are the guys who've been mining the internet and know exactly what is happening.
Okay. I heard he started off in McDonald's as well. Jeff Bezos.
So,
he started off working in McDonald's.
I wouldn't believe that if I was you.
No,
He might have had a part-time job, but
it's about Levi. It's the same thing like Levi Roots is mother invented him through the jerk sauce. You know.
No, that was propaganda.
Yeah, it's a story.
Jeff Bezos' family is rich. Jeff Bezos'
right.
family are rich. He might have worked there because he wanted to work there. But it didn't mean that he had to work there. Just like how they say that he started Amazon in his garage in his house, a house that he had paid for. You know, so you know, a house that was fully paid for. You know, it wasn't some shanty house in the middle of Ohio that nobody, you know. Nah, he was not struggling. You know, he was not struggling.
Thank you for your time, Sidney. We're gonna wrap up now.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, brother Sidney, for sharing information and technology, communication and knowledge.
Thank you very, very much, brother Desmond. Always a pleasure.
Give thanks, brother.
I don't know. Do you want to finish with watching one last video about Kim Kardashian robbery highlighting dangers of posting on social media, or do you just tell it tonight?
Run it. Yeah, man, run it. Run it, man.
Okay. So this is her. It happened to her, and it can happen to anyone. So here we go.
Andrew said thank you also. Thank you, Sidney. Thank you all.
No problem. No problem. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, the latest celebrity attack is serving as a warning to all of us. Kim Kardashian, one of the most public celebrities out there on social media, is the victim of a brutal robbery. Well, tonight, Contact 13 is keeping you safe with a look at how the reality TV star may have put her own safety at risk with what she posts on social media.
Kim Kardashian, at any time, any day, you can check her social media accounts to find out where she is, what she's doing, who she's with. But is Kim K putting herself at risk by documenting her life on social media? We asked our 13 Action News crime and safety expert, Randy Sutton.
Every time that you give information out about yourself, you place yourself in a higher degree of jeopardy.
Kardashian, a mother of two, begged for her life this weekend in a Paris apartment as armed gunmen bound, gagged, and held her at gunpoint as they robbed her of close to $10 million in jewelry. According to published reports, Kim K's $4 million diamond ring, a recent gift from husband Kanye West, she recently splashed all over social media, was stolen in that robbery.
When you point out your wealth, when you put out to everybody where you are 24/7, the people that are out there that will prey on others are out there waiting.
Published reports say Kim was terrorized during the brutal robbery. She and Kanye West are beefing up security, but our crime and safety expert says Kim K may want to rethink what she posts on social media.
The more that you allow others to know your private travels, the more susceptible you are to becoming a victim yourself.
So here's the Contact 13 bottom line. This is a good time to take stock of your personal social media accounts. Revisit your friends list and remove anyone you don't want. Delete any posts with too much personal information. Limit what you post. When you're traveling, don't post that you're away on vacation. Wait to post when you get back. Also, disable your location services so you don't post your exact location on social media.
This is Leicester Town Centre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it hits home, innit?
yes, it does. It does. So that sort of runs up what I was saying, and so it puts everything into perspective. And I hope that we'll learn to stay safe and look out for one another.
All right. Thank you, sir. Blessed job, yeah?
Yeah, bless you.
Good night, all.
Good night.